welcome to another episode of Turn Left. I am your host, Indiana's own Dana Black, coming to you live, yes, all the way live from Black Pearl Studios, where we talk about Indiana politics from the left side of things. Today, I have a guest, so it'll be a little less partisan than usual, because I don't ever want to put our nonprofit organizations in jeopardy. That being said, y'all, I hope you had a fantastic Thanksgiving. I know that I wasn't here that week. And then I went to D.C. and hung out with Victory. To all of my LGBTQ plus politicos, if you have not done a Victory Institute International Conference, you do not know what you are missing. There are so many ways to get inspired. There are so many people who are doing amazing and critical work, not just in the United States, but around the world. There are people, I made a post with some folks who were from Central and South America and from Mexico, because Mexico's in North America. And they literally have death threats on a regular basis, just being elected out, transgender or just LGBTQ plus, no matter where you fit on the spectrum. And they are doing the work. And I question sometimes some of us here in the States who are, they get a little antsy when parents come to school board meetings and yell at them a little bit. Everybody has their own level of comfort, and I get that. But I tell you what, if you could listen to these activists and these elected officials in Central and South America talk about how they are fighting for, the LGBTQ plus communities in their countries, parents arguing about a curricula that ain't actually being taught is not going to scare you. I guarantee you, you're going to be motivated and you're going to be inspired to do the work. We had a huge Indiana contingency in D.C. We turned it out. We had other elected officials, Clerk Bolden from Bloomington and Councilwoman Veronica Pedro from Greenfield. I always mess that up. She's down at the doctor. Of course, we had party officials and Henry Fernandez, who was the treasurer of the state party. And we actually had the treasurer from Allen County there, which we ran into while we were there. So we had a huge Indiana contingency. We turned the party out. I had a chance to dance with one of my sheroes, the former mayor of Houston, Anise Parker. Yes, she likes to get her boogie and her groove on. Just some of the coolest people. Other things that we did, we also worked with Andrew Gillum. They have the Good Trouble Network, which really focuses in on Black LGBTQ plus electeds around the state. It's a concentration of making sure that people who are in our community and are Black are getting the support that they need, because the mantra that we received from David Johns was, I don't get to separate out being Black and being gay. Y'all got to accept all of me, because it's the whole of me. And I am down with that. I get to be on the sidelines and watch that work being done. But if you can't tell, going to Victory for 4 or 5 days gets me ready to take on all of what Indiana has coming for the next 51 weeks. We bang our heads against the wall here in Indiana a lot of times, but going to that conference gets me ready to take on what is necessary and continue to support all the people whose philosophies and ideologies align with mine or align with the people. I'm telling you, that's what Victory does. So I'm going to start off with the happy and the good, and it's good to be back. We got a lot of shows. Obviously, we're going to take off Christmas week, but we got a lot of shows scheduled. Don't worry. We will definitely get you covered with candidates as people start to declare themselves. All right. Time for my rant. So, did you guys see today where the IU Health actually had to call in the National Guard for assistance because the COVID numbers and hospitalizations are on the rise? WTHR and so many other Indiana media outlets report Indiana University Health announced Thursday that it has requested assistance from the National Guard in nearly all of its hospitals due to an increase in hospitalizations. As COVID cases continue to increase and hospitalization of COVID and non-COVID patients reach all-time highs, the demand and strain on Indiana University Health's team members, nurses, and providers has never been greater. The IU Health said it enlisted members of the Indiana National Guard to assist in areas of critical need in conjunction with the Indiana Department of Health. Y'all, listen, I know we all are ready to get back to work and get back to life as it was before. I am one of them. I am an extrovert in every sense of the word. I love to be in the streets. I love shaking hands. I love hugging people. And even I have to wear these silly masks, and sometimes I get it on right and sometimes I don't. But y'all, we got to be safe. And the first thing that'll help us keep us out of the hospital, and the manufacturers never said that it was going to keep you from getting the virus, but it's going to keep you alive if you got it, is to get vaccinated. Well, we already know here in Indiana, we don't, I'm not going to say we want everybody to be sick, but we sure aren't doing anything to keep people healthy. And it's been reported throughout November that Indiana Republican lawmakers have filed a bill, House Bill 1001, write it down, 1001, that would limit COVID-19 vaccine mandates. The proposal was introduced earlier in November, and it was faced with criticism from business leaders and medical experts, along with some other Hoosiers. More than 50 Indiana House Republicans have signed on as co-authors of this particular bill. Now, what is the bill? The bill will require any employer with a COVID-19 vaccine mandate to also offer testing option at the cost of being covered by the employer, not the employee. Now, on the surface, that sounds really, really good. That sounds good. But here's the deal. If, as an employer, I have said, in order for you to work for me, you got to go get a vaccine. This is to me at will. When is an at will state not an at will state? When Republicans introduce legislation that says an employer cannot set restrictions on its employees when it comes to this virus. Well, what do you mean, Dana? Okay, well, so check this out. An employer can tell you, you need to come to work at 8:30 every day. Well, boss, I want to come in at 9. You need to come in at 8:30. If you don't come in at 8:30, I'm not going to keep you around. I can terminate you. Employers are saying, if you want to come work here to keep us safe, to keep everybody around you safe, we have a vaccine mandate in order for you to work here. Now, Republicans are saying, oh, wait, no, dog. Y'all going too far with this at will thing. Y'all going too far. What do you mean? So now you want to set restrictions and then make the employer pay for it. See, I don't understand how Republicans can be so duplicitous in everything that they do. First thing, they want business to have free reign, do whatever they want, how they want, damn the employee. Now it's reversed. They're spinning it all back. When they could be doing that about family medical leave, they don't want to do it for that. Or maternity leave or paternity leave, they don't want to do that. Or they don't want to do it for educational purposes. No, they want to do it so that more people can catch COVID. That's what it is. They are literally doing a thing that's going to help people catch COVID. If OSHA can mandate that you wear a hat, that's a government agency. If you have to wear a hard hat in construction area, that's a mandate. You cannot go work in a construction area without a hard hat. It's for the safety of the employee. Getting your COVID vaccine is for the safety of the employee. But now, no, we don't want to do that. And it has nothing to do with medical science. It has nothing to do with whether or not it's the right thing to do. It's all about scoring points. It's all about scoring points. Oh, we got these dumpsters, and you can put a T in front of the D and do what you want to. But you got these people out here who are catering and kowtowing to a loser that they are literally willing to put their own constituents at risk, at health risk, to stand up to this, whatever they think is being done to them. Vaccine mandates have been around forever. You could not go to elementary school without a vaccine. Vaccine mandates have been around forever. And the fact that these Republicans continue to write legislation not only harms the employer, because now they got to take money to do what they need to do, which growth is going to slow down. You're also hurting the employee by creating a dangerous work environment. You're not doing anything to, Indiana that works. Indiana works to get sick. Indiana that works for less. What are we working for? I'm gonna need y'all to write that down, HB 1001. And when this bill comes to a committee or comes to the floor, I need, if those of you that can, I need y'all to go down to the State House and rally, because this is silliness. This is not about, this is, all of that is silliness, y'all. I want every Hoosier to be healthy. I want every Hoosier to have an opportunity to live their full life. I want every Hoosier to not take a virus, even though they may be asymptomatic, home to someone they love who is immune compromised and get sick, get hospitalized, or heaven forbid, not be here anymore. Now, I'm not being hysterical. I'm not, oh, Dana's just bugging out. No, IU Health had to ask for the National Guard to come in and help. You see what I'm saying? This is real. People want to pretend like, us liberals, us lefties are being all soft. They're asking for help. Can you give us some National Guard help? All of our people are stretched thin. Y'all, just go get your dang vaccine. Just go get it. And if you don't want to get your vaccine, go find a new job. I mean, it's just that simple. Your rights should not make me sick. And that's all I'm saying. And I'm done with that. I got to take a little drink of water. Excuse me. All right. Y'all, sometimes you get a chance to have somebody on your show who is not only brilliant, not only is she I'm not even calling her overachiever. I just think she does everything so well. She talks about the issues that matter to us in a way that is everyone can understand it. And she is committed to making sure that, diversity, equity, inclusion is in everything that we do in Indiana. Y'all, welcome to my show, the executive director of Women for Change, my girl, activist, leader, politician, mom, wife, amazing friend, Rima Shahid. Rima, welcome to the show.
Thank you, thank you, thank you. It's been a few years since I've been on, and when you were doing the intro, I was reminded how much I really missed being on your show.
Thank you.
It's such an honor. Thank you. And when you were talking about the COVID-19 vaccine, I thought it was so ironic that you were having to join so many people in begging and pleading folks to get the vaccine in the season of giving and in the season of paying it forward, in the season of remembering your neighbor and remembering those that have less. We can't even make sure that those around us, not just in our home, not just in our place of work, but in our community, are safe. But we feel good about ourselves when we pay for coffee for the person behind us at Starbucks. That's not paying it forward. Getting a vaccine and keeping people safe is paying it forward. So when you think about the season of giving, think about what ways you're giving.
Oh, girl, see, we already coming out the gate with fire. And you brought up Starbucks, and I got to say congratulations to the Starbucks who organized, they're in the Northeast. I cannot remember the name of the state, but I know that Starbucks are now organized. They are now organized labor. They can negotiate. That is a beautiful, beautiful thing. If people want to organize, they should not have people out there trying to bust up unions. There's a whole school that people can go to teach them how to bust unions. Stop it. Let these people organize. Let them speak collectively. And yes, let's pay it forward. So, you know what? Let's talk about Women for Change, because I remember when this organization started. We all met up on Michigan Road. It was too crowded. I couldn't even get in. I was still standing on the outside because the women in Indiana, they came from all over, completely fed up with the direction that we saw our nation going in after the election of 2016. You guys started this organization, and it is in full swing. So since the last 5-6 years, talk about what's been going on with Hoosier Women Forward. I'm sorry, Women for Change. You think I like my women organizations? My bad. Women for Change.
And I greatly respect the work of Hoosier Women Forward. Gosh, they are just a powerhouse, and they started, and How many people have gone through their program and ran for office? So mad respect. And that's what we have to do is when we talk about one organization, we have to remember the others because we're all working together to make Indiana a better place for all of us. And it's going to take a collective effort to be able to
Absolutely.
do that.
Absolutely. So talk about women for change. Let's get
Women
the
for change, yes. You know, Dana, you actually reminded me because I get to do this work and I have the honor and privilege of doing this work every single day. But you and I met about a month ago, and you said something that's really stuck with me. That there were so many organizations that started around that same time, and there might have been people that would have thought this is just a flash in the pan. That's exactly what you had said. And 5 years later, here we are
Mhm.
because of the collective support. 5 years later, we have over 500 to 600 volunteers. 5 years later, we've mobilized more than 500,000 people to get to the polls. 5 years later, we've had so many people go through our civics education programming because a university in Pennsylvania, their data showed a third of Americans, one third of Americans can't name all three branches of government.
That's pretty scary.
5 years later, we've helped pass at least four pieces of legislation and mobilized hundreds of people to take action, not just here at our Indiana General Assembly, but help take action in Washington, D.C. And that is because of people like you and like so many others that have a vision of what we know our great Hoosier state can look like.
Absolutely. And one of the things that I love about your organization is that you guys have been intentional about making sure that it is diverse. It's, people will think, oh, it started in Hamilton County, so it's not going to be blah, blah, blah. But yo, I mean, come on. We got to, and I don't mean to like phrase, let me know if I said it wrong, but a woman of Pakistani descent who practices Islam is the executive director. That is intentional.
It's very intentional. I'm often reminded how important it is because I've been in so many rooms where people say, well, women make 73 cents to a dollar. And y'all hold me to this, but I am the first in the room that says, I'm sorry, but white cisgender women make 73 cents to white cisgender men. Let's talk about Black women. Let's talk about Latina women. Let's talk about Asian women. Let's talk about the LGBTQI community, IA community. There are a
Listen,
lot of discrepancies here that we are not talking about. So where I'm sitting, your 73 cents to a dollar looks damn good.
exactly. And I'm gonna tell y'all now. I like to say, and everybody might not like it, but I do say the alphabet soup because I like soup, and I enjoy it on a cold day, and the letters I heard something at Victory. Yes, we keep adding letters because people get frustrated by how many letters we keep adding, but we're gonna keep adding them until we don't have to add them anymore, right? When everybody is included. And so that was a takeaway. I call it, there's a I even got another one. SGI. Same SGI or SGL. SGL, same gender loving. So what cuz we'll keep adding them. But yes, and that side note, sorry. That's what's so important about having a diverse view in an organization like Women for Change.
Because the truth is that the issues that we're working on, they don't affect women in one zip code or
Right.
in another zip code. They're not rural problems or urban problems. They're not a Marion County issue or a Swiss County issue. But all of these issues are Indiana specific issues. So, and until unless we're talking about all Hoosiers, we're going to leave someone behind.
Absolutely. So I'm curious. Tell the people about the legislations that you guys championed over the last 5 years, and that maybe have been signed into law and all the good stuff you've been doing.
Um, so the first that really comes to my mind is non-consensual pornography.
Mm.
Prior to 2018, there was no civil or criminal bill around or law around non-consensual pornography, and we were the one of the few, if not only, organization that really championed that bill. We were also out there with our fellow coalition partners around the opt-in, opt-out, as far as what our K through 12 students, the reproductive, medically, scientifically accurate information that they receive about their bodies. And so there was a bill that was introduced that would make it so that parents have to opt in, whereas right now you have to opt out. Being a mom of three myself, that permission slip would have been at the bottom of my child's book bag under crushed up Cheetos and smashed M&Ms. I would have never seen it. So we were in the organizations that continue to champion to make sure that our K through 12 students do receive that information. It's so important, especially because Indiana, we're one of the few states that have managed to increase teen
Uh,
pregnancies. One way, one way of helping students and young Hoosiers understand pregnancy and how that happens is by education.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Those are two really good ones, especially the no consent pornography. I don't think people realize how many, we've been talking about trafficking, sex trafficking, things of that nature. Trafficking can be done digitally as well if you are unaware of what is happening. And I think that is a good one because, whole lives can be destroyed because somebody, did a thing not knowing that it was going to go public. And so I really like that bill.
Yeah, and one component of that bill is also if someone takes a picture or a video of you without your consent prior to this bill, you could have not done anything, and there's no recourse. And that was so important for us to work on that. We were also the only women's organization that worked on the bias crime legislation. Is that everything we want to know? Do I wish that that bill had more in it, what we had championed? Yes. But you know what? We have something. Are we going to continue to point out, like I am right now, that that's not what we need? That's not what our state needs? Absolutely. We need to revise and update that, but we have a step. It's a baby step.
Speaking of hate crimes, and let's just stop there. When we were talking last week, I mean, hey, you're the one giving me the segues. I love talking to you because you always give me new information about communities that I am not always tapped into. No one person can be tapped into every community, but you got to have friends, right? You got to have relationships so they can tell you what's going on. You brought up an incident down in Bloomington where a mosque was attacked, and it didn't get the coverage that I think I hadn't heard about it. And mind you, people in Bloomington believe that I live in Bloomington. There are people in Bloomington that think I live in Bloomington, and I did not hear about that. Talk about the impact of having issues, especially in a liberal town, a blue dot like Bloomington, where a hate crime happened in the Islamic community, and it's not getting the same attention that. And I'm not saying that it shouldn't have got the attention. The Jewish synagogue in Hamilton County got a lot of attention, but then we have the Islamic mosque down in Bloomington that didn't get that attention.
Yeah, unfortunately, Dana, the truth is that Muslims have been in the great Hoosier state since 1924.
Okay.
We have been here since 1924, as in the first mosque was built in 1924. We have been a part of the Indiana community for decades now. And yet, when something happens in Bloomington, like it did about a month and a half ago, or when there's a shooting inside the mosque here in Indianapolis,
Yeah.
like it happened a year ago,
Yeah.
or other instances, unfortunately, I don't know. We don't hear from our elected officials. We don't see statements. We don't see people sending even their thoughts and prayers on Twitter for whatever that's worth. Um, and that makes one take pause for a number of reasons. One is are we safe?
Hmm.
Are
Hmm.
we safe in holy sanctuary spaces? Are we safe? The second reason it gives us pause is, again, as a mother, what do I tell my kids?
Yeah.
They kind of like us. They part-time like us. Where is that support? When something happens to a friend, when your friend is sick, or when your friend is going through something, you reach out and you say, "Hey, are you doing okay?"
Yeah.
You
Yeah.
start a meal train.
Yeah.
You send flowers. Where are these things
Yeah.
when we're hurting?
Yeah. And it doesn't help when you have knuckleheads like Lauren, whatever their name is, out in Colorado, making really crappy jokes about Representative Ilhan Omar, and repeating it over and over again, and then giving like this pseudo fake ass apology that she didn't even mean, right? It's a stack on top of each other when we don't wrap our arms around our fellow citizens. I take issue with that. And then you add on all these other layers of dodo birds who want to keep saying a bunch of dumb stuff at fundraisers.
That's the thing, is that our at in the great halls of democracy, that is Washington D.C., at the center of our government, we should have people that truly represent American values
Yes.
and represent the American people. And I cannot believe that Representative Bopart does either of those.
She doesn't. And I mean, listen, I am not an education shamer. I did not get I'm a non-traditional student, so I didn't go back to college till I was 35. So I understand and I'm empathetic of people who are at different stages in their life. And look, you don't have to go to college to be successful. We know that too. However, she, in my opinion, does not have a worldview. She does not have a worldview at all. We know that she did not obtain her high school equivalency until she won her primary or literally was elected to office. And I'm not saying that, hey, high school equivalency, I'm just saying that that is an indicator of the limited worldview. If you haven't explored outside of your own worldview, then you are going to say dumb stuff about a fellow representative. And if you and I said any of the things that she said on our about one of our teammates at work, what would happen to us?
Right. Absolutely.
We
Absolutely.
wouldn't have a job.
No,
So
no.
I think there's a problem that there's this Muslim hate, and Congressman Carson always speaks up. He practices the faith, and it's so nice to see. Like he's not afraid. He's out there. He ain't scared.
No.
He says what needs to be said. Okay, what other bills were you guys working on? I had to segue to that because
Yeah, and since you mentioned Congressman Carson, I do have to say he was the only elected official that had a statement about the incident in Bloomington.
wow, of course he did. Of course he did.
So a big thanks to him and his entire office for really being the champion for all Hoosiers and for all people that are lucky enough to live in the 7th district.
That would be me. That would be me. I'm in the 7th district. He represents me. So what other? Thank you, well, Congressman Carson. You always getting kudos from over here. So what else? What other pieces of legislation?
So as far as our legislative priorities are concerned, our first and foremost is voter access.
Mm-hmm.
Indiana continues to rank at the bottom of voter registration, of voter turnout. We actually commissioned a study on redistricting. You can go to our website and read the study by an independent professor by the name of Dr. Christopher Warshaw. And Professor Warshaw's study showed that our maps are more politically gerrymandered than any other map enacted in all 50 states over the past 50 years.
Hmm.
Folks have not been happy about this study, but to this day, there's never been a rebuttal to that study.
Of course not. You can't.
You can hate it, but it's the truth. And so we believe that redistricting and this partisan gerrymandering is what's really causing our voter turnout and our registrations to be so low. In 2020, a third of legislative races ran unopposed. A third.
That is way too many. And if we think that these voter restrictive laws and access restrictions only apply to Georgia, Florida, and Texas, you're not paying attention.
Yep.
And
Yep.
that study was actually quite good. And what I loved about it was Women for Change is a nonpartisan organization. So that study was commissioned by a bipartisan think tank or think process, right? It wasn't just Democrats that did it. It wasn't just Republicans. It's nonpartisan. So it was a very good report. Speaking of their website, also there's a link on there to donate to the work that they do, Women for Change. For all my Facebook listeners, make sure you click on the link if you like what Rima's talking about, which I know you do, because she's like that.
Thank,
So
thank you. Before I move on to the other three topics, since you brought up donating, in this season of giving, I hope everyone considers this: that the Women's Philanthropy Institute, which is at Lilly here at IU, their data shows only 1.6% of all national giving goes to organizations that serve women and girls. 1.6%. And within that, Dana, only 0.5% of all foundation giving goes to organizations that are led and served by women of color.
oh mercy, and they want to know why we still lag behind in so many statistics. We don't have the support from anybody.
No. So, onto the legislation. As I was telling you before the show, if you go and buy a Hallmark card celebrating Mother's Day this year, please don't. We have no right in the state of Indiana to celebrate Mother's Day.
Well, what you mean, Rima?
Our maternal infant mortality rates are one of the highest in the nation. It is abhorrent for a nation that says that we are the greatest nation in the world to have the number of deaths that are maternal infant related. We don't have enough birthing hospitals for all 92 of our counties. This is, again, not an urban problem, not a rural problem, but an Indiana problem.
And how can you say you're pro-life and you are all about the family and family values, but you're not willing to put your money where your talk is in making sure that women can have healthy experiences when they're giving birth?
46th in the nation as far as our maternal infant mortality. Indiana is actually at par with Vietnam and Iraq.
Hmm. And which is also very interesting when you consider that Indiana is going to introduce an anti-choice bill this session. I mean, here you are wanting to spend a whole bunch of time and energy on preventing women from making choices with their body, but you don't even want to help the ones that could actually use that need the help. That,
Exactly.
you're right.
We're also
Yeah.
working.
Go ahead. I'm sorry.
Sorry, go ahead.
You go ahead. You're the guest.
Thank you. One in every five Hoosier females has experienced sexual assault.
Mm, mm.
We're also fourth highest in the nation as far as rape among high school girls.
What?
Fourth highest in the nation.
What are we teaching our boys? What are we teaching our boys? Good Lord.
And and so one bill that we actually for the first time in Indiana history got out of the Courts and Criminal Code Committee, got out of the House, and unfortunately one member of Senate unilaterally killed it in the Senate, was the elements of rape. It is important that we pass this bill. In March 2020, we had the clothesline, the El Tendero, the clothesline event at the State House.
Yeah.
And the little girl came up to me. It's probably 5 to 7 years old. And she wanted to fill out a postcard about rape and sexual assault. And I said, well, you have to ask your mom first, just young girl. And her mom came over. They actually had driven down from the region because this little girl had been sexually assaulted. And she wanted to fill out a postcard.
See, and I had this discussion on another show not long ago, and Mouthwash. I like that show, and I was talking the Republican and Libertarian, and I was the Democrat, and we were talking about assault, unwanted pregnancies, and things of that nature, and the conversation literally turned to what girls from the Libertarian and the Republican, what girls needed to do to protect themselves. And never once was the conversation about, can we just not raise rapists? And sexual assaulters, could we go that route? Can we go the route of don't put your hands on anybody that don't want you to? Can we go that route? And it was so interesting to listen to these people talk about how women need to protect themselves. How about sexual predators? Not we don't create those.
For exactly, for anyone that's listening, do me a favor. Go buy one of your big box stores if you feel safe, with a mask. Walk by any of your big box stores and go into the baby boy section, especially around Valentine's Day. Let me know how many onesies you see that say flirt, Mr. Steal Your Girl, too cute, keep the ladies away, ladies man. On a baby?
We're starting off wrong.
We're starting off wrong. That's not cute. How many times have we seen a little baby and said, he's such a flirt. Look at him batting his eyes at me.
Starting
We
them
are
off wrong.
starting off wrong. We are teaching this before they know how to say dada and mama. We are teaching these children this when they don't know how to wipe their behinds and they wear a diaper. Like there's a serious problem in this nation when we are profiting, when big companies are profiting off of Mr. Steal Your Girl and Ladies Man.
And half of them don't know what they're doing anyway. That's the part that kills me. They don't know what they're doing, you know. And I like that piece of legislation. Hopefully, who was the senator, if you can remember, that killed the bill? Because we need to make sure we know who that is.
As soon as we get into session, I will keep everybody posted on the status of that bill. So if you haven't, sign up to be an action advocate. These are folks that help us advance our legislative agenda and help us take action during the session. And we really need all of you. As I said, to be able
Nice.
to achieve our goals, it's going to take a team of people. Our final legislative issue
Nice sidestep, by the way.
is women's economic stability.
Okay.
Indiana ranks 49th out of 50 states as far as our gender economic stability is concerned. The last time this many women were forced out of the workplace was 100 years ago during the last pandemic.
Hmm.
And again, as you talked about at Women for Change, we're very intentional. Let's not get it twisted. Women are not leaving the workplace. Women are being forced
Forced out.
out of the
Yeah.
workplace
Yeah.
because we don't have paid family leave, because we don't have paid family medical leave, because the pregnancy accommodation bill that y'all passed in 2020 didn't do anything. And because we're not getting paid equal pay for equal work, yet in the Midwest, 69.3% of mothers are the breadwinners. The truth is, in the Midwest, 69.3% of mothers are the breadwinners. And I jokingly tell people we're bringing home the bacon. In my case, it's the turkey bacon, but we're not being compensated for our work.
Yeah.
We're not being honored for our work. And I really believe that you can really learn about how society values women by the laws that they pass about women and how women are treated. And I'd
Absolutely.
like everyone to take a pause and think about what are we asking for, at Women for Change? We're asking for people to be able to vote, which is their duty as an American. We're asking for moms not to die. We're
Me either.
asking for babies not to die. We're asking for our students to be given medically accurate information about their bodies so that they understand their bodies and they don't have to gain that knowledge from other sources, i.e., the internet. We're asking people to be paid, and we're asking people not to sexually assault and rape 51% of our population, which is women. I
Mm.
don't think we're asking for a lot, but somehow it's difficult.
And that's, you know what, that's interesting. And I like the way you wrapped all that up in a nice bow because Women for Change is focused on improving lives. And you improve lives by keeping people safe, getting them educated, getting them paid, and allowing them to do that self care. These are the things that we should be focusing on. But unfortunately, we have legislators and we have people with agendas that are harmful to us. But we are getting lost in the muck. We're getting lost in the nonsense. So y'all, if y'all want to get down with what Women for Change is doing, these are the issues that impact everybody, no matter your demographic. They're going to, because if you're a young man whose mom is having to work two jobs to keep a roof over y'all's head, it's going to impact you too. So men folk, it's impacting you too. And you know, the other thing that we want to make sure that we talk about tonight, it's so important for women to be at the table, right? The conversation changes when women are at the table. I say it, I'm going to continue to say it. You talked about educating your civics training classes. How else are you as an organization encouraging women to have a seat at the table?
So every year we host a program that's called Ready to Run. We have the rights to host that program. It is out of Rutgers University, and we think about Ready to Run as your pre-K to join a Hoosier Women Forward, join a Luger series. But it's so
You actually
important.
said that on my show, but I'm gonna let you
Yes,
get. I'm gonna let you. Go. I love you.
and it's so important for women to be at these positions of power. Again, we represent 51% of the population, yet we're less than 21% of the legislators are female.
Yeah,
Yet never said Madam Governor in the state of Indiana. Yet we've never had federally women senators from the state of Indiana. Again, what does that say about us as a society, as a
absolutely,
state?
absolutely.
Are we not qualified? And for anyone that's think about it, you are qualified. You have what it takes. You are needed and you are wanted. And please run. We're coming up on another election year.
Absolutely. And I scratch my head sometimes when people talk about, you know, whether or not they're qualified to run for office. And I'm like, so the last 4 years didn't tell you that you were. You know, the level of crazy and insanity. I mean, the governor of Florida is so inauthentic that he literally is mimicking 45. Like in his mannerisms. It's like, dude, did you forget you were DeSantos? Did you morph into somebody else? We are so now. I will say this, and one of the things you said before you came on the show, you was like, you know, I keep it real. I don't need women to run for office because they're cute, right? I don't need women to run for office because they look good on a poster. We need women to run for office who really care about the community they live in. Because we see what happens when you have empty heads running for office and they're female. They're women. You know, somebody might actually say to me, well, Dana, what about Marjorie Taylor Greene? She a woman. She sure is. And she should not be in office. You know what I'm saying?
That's just it. Women, like any other group, pick a group. We're not homogenous. So just because you are X doesn't mean that you represent excellence. But I have to believe that every single person that listens to your show strives for excellence.
Exactly. And we
And
gotta and we
you're
gotta push each other.
the Dana Show, run for office.
Absolutely. And so when are you guys going to be having another one of those training sessions coming up in the next quarter or two?
The Ready to Run will be in the fall, as well as State of Women. I know I forced you one year to go, and I'm going to do it again. It's where we really dive deeper into these topics and allow people an opportunity to learn how they can get involved. We also host a program that's called Listen, Connect, and Participate, where we bring in one Republican, one Democrat, two subject matter experts, and a moderator to talk about an issue like gun control,
Mm,
like
mm.
economic stability, like women's health. These are issues that affect all Hoosiers. And so we bring them together. But by doing so, we also give those that attend an opportunity to hear directly from lawmakers and ask them hard questions. That is your right.
Oh, I love it. I love it. And if ever you guys need somebody to do some recording, hook up, holla at Black Pearl Studios. We got you covered. Uh,
Uh,
it's, and so these programs are great because it encourages people to learn more. So you had your civics engagement class, your ready to run class, and your forums where you bring in different voices. What other God? That's a lot. What else you got? You're not busy, are you?
No, not at all. So, during the legislative session, we are focused on advancing our policy agenda. We also host those programs throughout the year, be it civics education or be it State of Women, Ready to Run, Listen, Connect, Participate. There are plenty of ways to get involved. In 2022, we're also going to be turning out the vote
I love it. I
and
love it.
provide. What we focus on are not the candidates, but what we focus on are the issues on the ballot.
Okay. Okay.
People be aware of these issues that are on the ballot and what really affects all Hoosiers. So we're going to be putting out a school board guide. How do you pick your school board member? You can't do the eeny, meeny, miny, mo. It's not going to cut it. And we also have a candidate guide that we're going to publish to try to make it a little bit easier. But we also want to get women to work the polls. One data showed how we don't have enough women that are working the polls. I know, again, I often speak with my mom hat on, but when I take my children to the polls, it's so frustrating. The fact that there are not women that are working there. So if you want to, and if you would willing to consider taking up half a day or a full day to work the polls, we're looking for volunteers, and we're going to be mobilizing. So again, you can visit our website for that.
Oh, I love it. And you know what? This year, and I misspoke the last time I talked about it. I will make sure I post the deadlines. But we need more precinct committee people. I'm running. I'm putting my name on the ballot. If I have an opponent, perfect. I like competition. We need more competition. The more, the merrier. But we need more precinct committee people so that we can have a say in how the process works. So, y'all, as she's talking, yes, we need you in the state house. Yes, we need you going to the DC. We need you in the council chambers. But we also need you as precinct committee people. Those are elected positions so that you can talk to your community about the issues. And then if you're not even like really super in tune with all the issues, you reach out to organizations like Women for Change, and they will get you connected and get that information that you need to have those real conversations. All right, Rima, the last 10 minutes of the show is really going to be about, I want to know what's on your mind. Take off, your whatever. You probably can't ever take your hat off. So, what are some of the things that you want to see, that's aside from the initiatives that Women for Change are working for, that you want to see come out of our state house, you want to see our legislators work on, that you feel passionate about, that maybe we ain't really ready yet to cultivate it from an organizational standpoint, but things that you are passionate about as well.
I think one thing, and as soon as I say it, you're going to remember, because this is something that you and I have talked about, but something that I am super passionate and fired up about is I envision a day where I walk into the state house and the state house really looks like Indiana.
Yeah.
I also envision a day where we're not celebrating firsts anymore. I'm so thankful to the first. We are standing on their shoulders. There's no doubt about that. But there's so many people now in those seats that you can't mention all of them anymore.
Exactly. Exactly.
And to me would be beautiful. Representation is so important for our next generation and the one following that and the one following that. It has to be so natural for them to run for office, to see people in those positions, that they have to learn about the first in their history books and not from the television or the newspaper anymore, because there's so many of us.
Absolutely. I tell you what, I'm one of the things that I'm hoping we can get going this year, from a party perspective and from electoral perspective. Our AAPI community is underrepresented in all aspects of Indiana politics. And I said it, I mean it. Listen, I know that as a black woman, I feel like we're underrepresented, but I know my AAPI community feels that way. I know my Latinx community feels that way. But we don't even have an AAPI caucus yet at the party. And I'm not on the party. I'm not on the Central Committee no more. But hopefully, with voices like Catherine Chi and Michelle Dahl and some of these other amazing people, Fatty, you, we can get us an AAPI caucus. I know you got to stay nonpartisan, but with the influx, listen, look, real talk. Indiana swears it wants to be the Silicon Valley of the Midwest, and we already know some of the greatest tech minds. The greatest tech minds are in those AAPI communities, and so if we want to attract that talent to Indiana, we're going to have to make sure they feel warm and fuzzy when they get here, right? Or when they bring their families, that they're going to feel safe. So I want to see us all galvanize around the AAPI communities. Last year we had to do the whole stop the Asian hate thing. I didn't even. That was a thing, y'all. That was a thing. We had to say stop Asian hate. But I want us to. I've always believed that if you care about women's issues, then you should be able to care about African American issues. If you care about African American issues, you should be able to care about LGBTQ plus issues, Latina issues, labor issues, senior issues, and by the way, AAPI, because we're all humans having a human experience, and we need to be lifting each other up and trying to strengthen each other in everything that we do. So yes, I want our state house to look like Indiana, and I want Indiana to do better with the residents that we have here. So, that's I feel you. Let's work together, Rima.
Let's do it, and that's just it, is that we, you and I, and there's so many others that really feel in our bones what Indiana could look like.
Yeah.
What is the potential of our great state? We love Indiana.
Yeah.
Like, we use your pride with such gusto.
Yeah. Yeah.
And we know what that can mean, and that vision is not far. But we can't also, and we have to remember that we have a right to petition the government and to get involved. And let's take that, because our goal is not far.
It's
I
not.
also remember Saturday is Indiana's birthday, and I think it's so important for us to remember that we are all standing on Indigenous land.
You better
We are
speak
all
on it.
we are all on Indigenous land. I mean, just the base of our state's name, Indiana, shows that. And I think we have to always remember that we are standing on Indigenous and stolen land, and remember to lift up those whose right was taken from them very violently and forcibly.
See, I think that's the uniqueness of being a member of a traditionally marginalized community. You can feel the humanity and the need to humanize, and wrap your arms around another traditionally marginalized community. You don't have to question it. You don't have to consider it. You just know it's a thing. The ADA community. You just know. Wait a minute. Everybody's having a human experience, and not just the fact that the base of our name stems from somebody getting lost and thinking that they were in the subcontinent and naming them Indians, but we have so many counties that are named for tribes that were inhabiting this area.
Yep.
Miami, Kosciuszko. I mean, so many. Tippecanoe, so
Yep. I
many.
was new.
So
And
let's.
I
You're right.
important to remember that we are all occupying stolen lands. We are all occupying Indigenous lands, and as we continue to celebrate and be proud of being Hoosiers and from Indiana, we have to remember those whose land we are occupying.
Absolutely. And you know what? This is the part of the dumb CRT conversation that drives me crazy. Like, people want to sit around and talk about, like, they would tell us that what you just said right now is a part of CRT, right? They would literally, and that's what drives me nuts. It's the truth. You guys don't want to hear the truth? I read a story this the other day where a teacher who had been a middle school teacher for 13 years had, in his history class, was talking about white privilege, what it means, how laws were created to stack the deck against people of color, indigenous people, blah blah blah, and they fired him. They
I saw
fired him.
I saw that.
It's like, so you just want a whole citizenry that don't know nothing about nothing about nothing.
Yeah.
That's what we want. We just want to dumb everything down. I don't get that.
A big shout out to Madam Walker Theater. They hosted Ibrahim X Kendi, um, I don't know, 6 to 8 weeks ago. And it was wonderful. I just love listening to him talk. But he said his wife is a teacher, and he said, all these parents are coming and getting so angry about what's being taught. It's equivalent. He equated it to people going on Google, checking out their symptoms and taking it to the doctor and saying, this is how you're going to treat it. You can't do that. We have to honor professionals and remember and let teachers teach.
Absolutely. You would think after having kids at home for a full year, having to homeschool, that you would be like, as a parent, like, yo, you go ahead and do that. You would think, especially when I would read the posts, people like, Lord Jesus, my kid, I'm glad. I want him to go back to school. We want him to go back to school. But then you want to dictate to the people who have been trained to educate how they should educate. Right. I don't know. Rima, as usual, our hour goes by so dang quick. I adore you, and anybody that is interested in supporting this organization, please click the link, go to their website, Women for Change. They are doing amazing things in the state, and they are amplifying women's voices. They're amplifying women's issues, and that's a place for you to go. Even if you don't call yourself a Democrat, you know what I'm saying? You can go to this type of organization and get fed, because that's what it's all about. It's all about elevating women to make sure that all of our rights are taken care of equally. So I want to thank you for that. But before we go, can we just say happy birthday to the most inspiring and encouraging and never give up female running for governor of Georgia, Miss Stacey Abrams? Can we just do that? Can we just give Stacey Abrams a happy birthday? Can we do that? She has declared her run for governor. I have already given money to her campaign. And y'all know me, I try to keep money in state because there's a lot of work that needs to be done here. But the reason why I donated to her campaign is because of the work that she and so many other black women in Georgia that are out here working made sure democracy was saved in 2022. We all owe her and a lot of women in Georgia a debt of gratitude for the work they put in. Look, they did the same thing in Alabama. Are y'all listening to black women? We know what we doing. Get on board. We love y'all. Come on with us. But y'all, Stacey Abrams is running. They done already thrown up some clowns to run against her because they nervous. They already trying to bash her. They already trying to make her seem like she's something other than a human. And what does she do? She just shines with dignity. So I want to send a happy birthday from Indiana down to Georgia to Miss Stacey Abrams, who is going to be a candidate running for governor. I wish you the best of luck. I can't knock doors for you because I'll be busy. Right here taking care of business. But y'all, that's what excites me. And also one last shout out. I kind of mentioned her earlier. When I think about who my political heroes are in this world of politics, Shirley Chisholm's number one. Barbara Jordan is number two. And full disclosure, number 3 is the former mayor of Houston, Anise Parker, because she was the LGBTQ plus mayor of the 4th largest city in our entire country, and she did it with dignity and grace. When I tell you I had a chance to dance with her this weekend, yo, she cussed it up. So, y'all, there's so many amazing people out here that are doing great work. If we don't see what winning looks like in our state, sometimes we have to step outside. I met Rosemary, and I'm messing up. She is the first trans person elected in West Virginia. Was clowning all weekend. I'm just saying, there's so many amazing people. My energy level is up. I'm ready to take on the world. We're going to knock some of these bricks down. We're going to hold people accountable who do not want to take seriously the lives of Hoosiers. We're going to hold them accountable. All right? I got a show next week, so make sure you tune in. Be ready to get hyped. I'm ready to go. And I will holler at y'all next time.